What's going on, everyone? We are here with another go wide type of strategy, but instead of relying on unity of purpose, we've got IG-88, which I think I've done one video on the entire time he has been in the game. So a good sign off here with actually a bunch of some amazing additions from set 6 that does actually make him a powerful threat. So before we dive into the list, a big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. I am seeing all the YouTube recaps, and it has been an absolute blast seeing all of your screenshots being posted in the chat. So thank you for that. But what do we got going on with IG-88? Well, as you all know, Unity of Purpose is definitely one of the most powerful cards, like single individual cards in the game. And we see a lot of double green, go wide strategies like Captain Rex or, Mon Mothma double green or Wat Tambor double green or whatever it is that we're playing. But this deck is going to be going wide and trying to benefit from IG's front side action and his flip side giving everyone raid 1. When you flip IG, one of the worst things about him was the 4 toughness, but now we have ways to protect him and utilize our resources and cheat on actions with plot. So deploying IG and going Jar Jar and Chancellor Palpatine suddenly gives you a Sentinel and pumps up a unit, so then you can actually attack in with all your raid upgrade from IG. Alongside that, we have a bunch of units that kind of give you some value when defeated. Cards like Confederate Courier creating a battle droid token, Imperial Occupier giving you a spy token when they're defeated, so that way you still have units when IG is deployed. A couple of random interactive cards like Corrupt Politician. We have a bunch of just standard solid 1 and 2 drops like Imperial Dark Trooper, HK, the Death Star Stormtrooper. We have some other plot upgrades like Sudden Ferocity, Unveiled Might, maybe to protect IG, but also just to potentially get some extra power. Some very powerful events like Overwhelming Barrage, as per usual. Corporate Warmongering is kind of like a mini Unity of Purpose. Very, very, very weak comparatively, but something that might be able to kind of give us that final push of damage. And then, well, Crucible as another new addition, giving you access to experience tokens to all of your other units on the board. So we're going to see what we can do. I think one of the most fun cards to play with on this list, besides, of course, the new plot cards, is Hoth Lieutenant, which is from one of these Hoth starter decks. And this gives you essentially like a Fleet Lieutenant in any version of traits. It's just a 4 cost giving +2/+0 when played. You can attack. It is very, very strong, actually, in these more aggressive style decks. So with that said, we've got a 24 HP base, so we may get rushed in a few of these games, but we're going to be trying to do the rushing against our opponents today. Let's get into it. Alrighty, into our very first game here. This hand is not great. I think I'm going to mulligan this one. I think we could do a little bit better. Well, that's not exactly what I was hoping for, but we will find out. Okay, Confederate Courier actually ends up being excellent here. Oh my gosh, that is a lot of ISB shuttles. Confederate Courier actually ends up being excellent here. We get to go ahead and kill their A-Wing and then play ISB shuttle to create that spy token, which is going to be fantastic. So we get the value, have a bunch of units on the board, and then we're going to be able to kind of do our thing. So let's go ahead and kill off their A-Wing. They're going to deal 3 damage to us. We're already a little bit scared here. They got resupply. Okay, so that's actually pretty good for us. Ooh, Chancellor Palpatine in the resource pile as well. That's pretty nice. This turn, hopefully one of our units dies so we can play a second ISB shuttle and get some value going. Otherwise, we'll just play kind of an ISB shuttle with no value. They've got an Obi-Wan. Okay, so what do we want to do here? I think the game plan will be to go ahead and attack in with, well, actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and just attack in with the battle droid. We're going to attack it with the spy token, actually. This is going to give us the ISB shuttle attack in for 4, which is going to be pretty good. One of the things we do have to be scared about is our opponents. Ooh, now we have Sudden Ferocity, huh? One of the things that we do have to be scared about is our opponent kind of just putting up a bunch of Sentinels like Captain Typho, force units that are going to block our path. It's really not ideal. Let's go ahead and just immediately attack in with this battle droid. Get in for 2 while we can. They've got resupply carrier. Not super excited about that, but we do have Chancellor Palpatine coming down, which is going to be pretty good. And then we do have Imperial Dark Trooper to follow up. So that's going to be pretty nice. They can, defeat a ISB shuttle, which is going to be pretty good. Let's go ahead and attack in for 4. They're going to be able to knock out a token here. We're going to attack in for 5. We're going to play Imperial Dark Trooper, and then we're going to pass. Okay, I think HA is going to be pretty weak. My guess is that we're going to go with Corporate Warmongering here, but I'm going to have to find out what my opponent plays, because it can be, that is about as bad as it possibly can get. That is really, really rough. Really, really rough. All right, let's go ahead and drop in. I suppose we'll go with Corporate Warmongering. And then we'll play the Jar Jar. Not good at all for us. Not good at all. My opponent having the double ramp into an early deploy Yoda, into also having a Sentinel, as well as having the double heal with the Yoda deploy and the Yoda, big Yoda version, killing off my IG. This is about as good as it gets in terms of being able to interact with my hand. So that ends up being a little bit unfortunate. We're going to see what my opponent decides to do here. They're knocking out the Imperial Dark Trooper, which makes sense. Let's go ahead and hit their Obi-Wan just to knock it out. And then we are going to Jar Jar deploy and then just get in for a bunch of damage here. Attack, 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 and then pass. Overrolling Barrage can be pretty decent, but it's not like it's going to actually kill anything here. So that's not ideal. If they're able to heal up or put a Sentinel down, I'm not very impressed with our, way outs. But let's go ahead and find out what they've got. Let's go ahead and use the action to hit in for 3 with Jar Jar. Let's play Crucible to pump up our battle droids, because this will put lethal on the board. And then we have Crucible as an attack in case they put up a big Sentinel. So this will kind of give us the best of all worlds. And here it is. So now we just claim initiative, and then Crucible should be the win. Wow, we actually fought through this and actually were able to win. Wow, that is incredible. GG. Fantastic. Into the next one here. Let's see what we've got. Up against Boba. You know what? I think I'll mulligan this one, actually. Ooh, yes. Much better. Palpatine, Unveiled Might. Can I go into the resource pile? I guess not much better. I do like our plot options. I really was open for maybe a 2-drop or something. But let's go with HK here, and then we'll see what my opponent's got. They got Confederate, or Zagarian Starhopper, not Confederate Courier. We have Confederate Courier. That is what I was kind of looking for. So let's go ahead and drop in the Confederate Courier. We're going to try to get an extra damage in with HK. And Confederate Courier is going to guarantee us... Oh, wow. Okay. Well, my opponent's got the Lurking Snub Fighter on turn 2. It is what it is. Sometimes you got it. They can kill off the Confederate Courier. It creates a battle droid token for us. Really not that bad, to be honest. So kind of okay with that. Hoth Lieutenant's going to get in a lot of damage here for us, which is going to be quite nice. Guavian Antagonizer. Going to just go ahead and resource the Dark Trooper, actually. Let's go ahead and get in for 3 with the Confederate Courier and the IG Trigger. See what my opponent's got. Dengar. I mean, Dengar's good. Dengar's good. We'll take some damage over on the Hoth Lieutenant. Take some damage over on HK. They don't have Overwhelming Barrage. That's something we don't have to be afraid of. And they will go ahead and take out my... Okay, yeah, sure. Ooh, Jar Jar Binks. Going to be the resource here. We are definitely going to deploy. The question is, do I actually want to go ahead and do anything else but the corporate warmongering? I think I'm going to pass on all this because I want to go corporate warmongering here on the IG-88. It's going to give essentially... Ooh, here comes some triggers. We're going to just take it all. Yep, take it all. We're going to corporate warmongering on IG. Hopefully they don't have like a no good to me dead. I did it this way because if I was going to put corporate warmongering on anything else, they could die to a lot of different things. HK might have been, I guess, the more secure option. We'll take 3 damage here. So now we've got an attack in for 5. Remember, all of these have raid 1 as well. So we have lethal on board if my opponent has nothing. So my opponent has to have something, which is why I went with the corporate warmongering. It's going to attack in for another 5. Punishing 1. They can go ahead and deal 1 to something, but that is not good enough. I'm attacking before attacking with IG, because if they had a way to exhaust, they would have exhausted IG. And, well, they all get raid 1. So, pretty amazing stuff there. On to game number, what is it, 3? I don't know. I don't even remember. Alrighty. Well, into the next matchup. And honestly, a significantly worse matchup for us. Let's go ahead and mulligan this. Okay, not a great hand. Yeah, Boba Yellow, much easier for us to deal with. Even though they do have some exhausting potential, they don't have Overwhelming Barrage, and we kind of just have to dodge that if we plan on winning. That's just kind of how the game goes, realistically. Let's go ahead and play HK out, and we'll see what my opponent's got. They've got a TIE Bomber here. Okay. Not a bad follow-up here. I'm going to have the Imperial Occupier plus the Guavian Antagonizer to get us an attack in. I know that they could have Open Fire and cards like that, but we really can't like go through and do anything but, well, try to get as much damage in as possible. That's literally all we can do, because my opponent's going to be able to ramp. They have Super Laser. They have Resupply in their deck. They're going to be able to do all that. We just need to put as much pressure on as we possibly can. We have a good IG flip turn, but remember, that's the same turn Boba Fett's going to be able to come down because of the Super Laser Technician. So not exactly all that great from that regard. But let's go ahead and attack you with the Guavian Antagonizer. And then we're going to get the Hoth Lieutenant down. I'm going to hope that they don't have Daring Raid, huh? All right. I mean, Daring Raid is going to get in for some damage here. Let's go ahead and take some damage, and we'll claim. They have nothing? Well, that's really good news for us. Let's... Okay. I mean, let's deploy IG, Sudden Ferocity on IG, and we will go Jar Jar on IG as well. This should prevent any attacks or anything that they could have in hand from killing off our IG, so we're at least going to get the attack in. If they had a unit with power here, I'd be a little bit more worried, but they have to kind of deploy Boba Fett first in order for them to get the power needed to knock out some of my units. So we're just going to go all in on IG. I still think we're in kind of a precarious position here, because they can deploy knockout like Hoth Lieutenant, for example, which would be pretty good for them. And then they can just Overwhelming Barrage, and we still are in a little bit of trouble here. So they're going to knock out Spy Token, and they're going to deal damage to Hoth Lieutenant and IG or HK, and, well, there is the Overwhelming Barrage. Who would have expected that? Not me. I mean, they literally had, you know, it feels like every single time I talk about one card we got to avoid, they just have it every single time. So, you know, that's okay, though. That's okay. On the bright side, though, they can't finish off all these units, right? They can only do 6 damage. So Guavian Antagonizer is most likely the one to live. We get an attack in for 3. Oh. That's surprising. Oh, man. Okay, so what? How do we lose? So I think we take all this damage. Because they only have 4 power on the next turn. I suppose if they have... Ooh, Maul! Yeah. Yeah, it was going to be good. The Overwhelming Barrage was absolutely critical for them. The Overwhelming Barrage was absolutely critical. If I had not taken the 3 damage, would I have lived? I was at 19, right? I guess I would have lived 1 damage, 1 HP, but I still wouldn't have won the game. I would have been 1 point of damage short than attacking with the Hoth Lieutenant. I guess I could have split up the Sudden Ferocity and the Jar Jar, but I don't know if that would have been better. I mean, they had to have had Overwhelming Barrage. They had to have had the ramp. They had to have had Maul. They kind of had to have that specific circumstance. And, well, it's just a tough matchup, right? Overwhelming Barrage is really good against us. Alrighty, into the next matchup. We've got ourselves a Luke matchup, which honestly is a little bit scary. The action from Luke is actually really good against a lot of the cards that we have. Although this is the type of hand that I do want against Luke, right? Just a standard 3/3 on turn 1 is going to be kind of the best policy. Into Confederate Courier plus Corrupt Politician doesn't seem that bad. I'm really worried about a red 5. Red 5 would be bad because it can really start picking off a bunch of units. We don't really have an answer to that. All these, leaders that have just so much random indirect or direct/indirect damage to all of our units kind of stinks, huh? Y-Wing coming down, I mean, they can deal some indirect damage to us. I think if we're going to race, we are pretty heavily favored, so I'm okay with that. I'm going to go with triple 1-drop here. I'm happy with that. None of these units die immediately to a Luke Skywalker ping, so I'm okay with that. Let's go ahead and just take the damage here. Let's go with Vanguard Infantry as the first one. I'm going to try to get the 4th point of damage here. Ooh, that's real bad for us. That is going to give them an extra damage deal to units, which really stinks. They're going to start picking off my units 1 by 1. They're going to deal 1 damage to Vanguard Infantry. That's why I played it first, because if this dies, it's the least, it's the one that matters the least, right? Because we can get the power back from this. That's pretty important. But we do have to race them. Oh, I just realized I used the action after they played a unit. So I should have played another unit. I missed out on the point of damage. That was a little silly of me. It's okay, though. It's okay. We'll see what my opponent's got. I mean, they're going to be able to really pump in some damage here with the Sabine's Masterpiece and the Y-Wing. They've got Hot Shot Maneuver. Wow. That's rough. Oh, boy. My opponent just making life difficult. Cards that normally aren't... Oh, and they have the Open Fire? Oh! Guys, please. I mean, come on now. Can we stop having literally every single card in existence to kill every single one of my units? I mean, come on now. Let's go ahead and deploy IG. Get the unit down. We'll go Sudden Ferocity on IG plus a Jar Jar. Next turn, we can go Overwhelming Barrage on IG. Maybe wipe some units off the board. But let's go Sudden Ferocity on IG. Create some Battle Droid tokens. Jar Jar on IG to get out of open fire range, at least. And then, hopefully my opponent doesn't have too much to interact with us. Man, Hot Shot Maneuver and Open Fire on the turn 4. And the Sabine's Masterpiece. This is an incredible hand up against us. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. We're going to be able to attack in for 10, which is pretty good. Air Superiority. Okay, we're going to get in for 10. Air Superiority as well. My opponent playing the very, very controlling style deck right now. We'll take some damage here. We'll go ahead and hit him with the Hoth Lieutenant. And then hit him with that. I'm surprised they hit the IG here. Again, Jar Jar's on the board, so that's the only reason that guy's living right now. We're claiming initiative. Crucible, Overwhelming Barrage. I mean, we just have to go Overwhelming Barrage, right, on the Hoth Lieutenant. I suppose, actually, we go on the Guavian Antagonizer, because this also is technically lethal. So we can knock out the Sabine's Masterpiece at least, and they are conceding. The reason why I had to do that is, let's say they had Luke deploy. So they deploy onto Sabine, that's 7 damage plus Cinta, that wins the game, right? If they deploy onto Y-Wing, then we can at least divvy up the indirect damage so that we don't die. And we had 2 actions to kill them, right? Because we had to use the action from Hoth Lieutenant. Although, had I actually played that earlier turn properly, I would not have had to do that. So almost a mistake for me. And my opponent absolutely devastating kind of couple of turns there. And we still managed to barely eke it out. Very, very close game. Into the next game. And this will be an interesting one because we've got ourselves a matchup up against the official deck. We've got Death Star Stormtrooper on turn 1 and Corrupt Politician. So really good start comparatively to them. Ooh, another Corrupt Politician. I think I'm going to resource, though. ISB Shuttle looks quite fantastic here. I assume they're just going to immediately... Oh, wow. What an incredible play there. Admiral Ackbar just being absolutely devastating, to be honest. Whew, that is brutal. Another Hoth Lieutenant. That can do some work. My opponent, off to a pretty good start on their side of the battlefield. I think they'll just go ahead and kill off the Death Star Stormtrooper with their Admiral Ackbar, get a Restorian, which is going to be pretty obnoxious as well. The question is, do I want to hit the Jar Jar? Ooh, okay. Interesting. Let's go ahead and Hoth Lieutenant kill off the Admiral Ackbar, because it's going to let our spy token live. And then we can kill off Bail Organa potentially with the Death Star Stormtrooper. I know we're transitioning into a more controlling route here, but I think we can with Chancellor Palpatine deploy and the IG deploy. Yeah, this is going to look pretty good here. Kill off the Bail. Ooh, Mina Bonteri. I mean, so much value from these cards. Ooh, another Overwhelming Barrage. That's pretty important here. Let's see what my opponent wants to do. So they have Palpatine of their own. What do I want to do here? Let's go ahead and attack into a spy token real quick. We are kind of in a spot where we are forced to not play any Chancellor Palpatines right now because we need to deal with some of these units. If they go Unity of Purpose next turn, it is over. Like, completely over. So we go 1, 2, 3, 1, 1. And then we have 2 damage left, so we go 2. And then we kill Mon Mothma. We are forced to do this because Unity of Purpose is just so incredibly strong that if we allow them that board while they Unity of Purpose, we lose. So we just, like, I mean, we could have killed off both Sentinels and got in for a decent chunk of damage. Maybe it would have been better just to race them. I feel like this is the more secure option, though, with double Overwhelming Barrage. So that's why I decided to go with this plan. Because now they just get +2/+2 if they go Unity of Purpose. And if they do go Unity of Purpose, we can go with another Overwhelming Barrage. And actually, we're just going to go with another Overwhelming Barrage right now. So we're going to go 4, 1, 1, 2. Pretty nasty card, though, by the way, this Renowned Dignitaries. We're going to get a lot of damage this turn, though. So that's really nice. My opponent can go ahead and draw a card should they have multiple command cards. And now we can get in the damage that we were choosing to do so. I'm very happy that I decided to go and kill off all their units with this card in hand. Had they have had Mon Mothma, Chancellor Palpatine out, it would have been disgusting, absolutely disgusting in terms of, healing. They would have healed enough so that we wouldn't have won. So the Overwhelming Barrage on all the units was actually the correct play. And opponent can't survive 2 OBs back to back. Agreed. I think just the one was potentially good enough, but the second one obviously put the nail in the coffin. No chance. GG to our opponent. All right, into the next one. We've got ourselves a Vader Yellow. So let's see what we're going to be able to do up against this one. I don't mind racing our opponent. We're going to mulligan this one. Very expensive hand. Okay, this one's a good deal better. I'm happy with this one. Very aggressive with a double 1. Bazine? They play Bazine? What are they doing, my guy? What are we doing? Bazine? That is not the turn 1 play you want to see as Vader here. Very odd. Very odd. All right, let's go with another the Imperial Occupier here. We're going to play the Imperial Death Star Stormtrooper. And we will go ahead and knock out the Bazine, pass, Overwhelming Barrage. I think we're just going to go with the Hoth Lieutenant here. Death Space Skirmisher, exhausting the Death Star Stormtrooper. Get in for 4. Bazine, turn 1 is crazy, by the way. All right, let's claim initiative. We've got another Hoth Lieutenant. What do I have? I've got Jar Jar in there. I think I'll just go with the Overwhelming Barrage here. On the Hoth Lieutenant, we'll go 1, 3, and we'll just do 1. It's not like it's going to do any damage to the TIE Phantom, but at least we get the damage down. And this is going to prevent, a 5 damage Overwhelming Barrage. They can still do a 4 damage one, which would be pretty good, but this is going to end up being pretty nice for us as well. Let's go ahead and deploy IG. And we're going to try to get in as much damage as possible. And that's 6 damage. That's 4 damage. That's 3. That's another 3. And that's 5. And that is basically GG. I don't really know what they could have. I mean, they could have an Overwhelming Barrage for 6. But that's not quite enough because we go Hoth Lieutenant in for another 7. And that's GG. Bazine on turn 1 is, pretty rough for them. You really need to be racing. Like, you need to be able to go, turn 1 space unit attack, create a TIE fighter, create TIE fighter, TIE fighter, TIE fighter, TIE fighter into Clone Combat Squadron into Overwhelming Barrage for like 1 million. Like, that needs to be like a 9 powered Overwhelming Barrage. The fact that they didn't have that, I felt very secure in the game because Overwhelming Barrage is really, again, one of the only cards that can deal with what we're doing on a regular basis, or a bunch of Sentinels. Alrighty, into the next matchup, which is just Darth Vader Part 2. I'm going to mulligan this one. Look for a little bit more of an exciting hand. This is a little bit more of an exciting hand. We're going to go Guavian Antagonizer. My opponent finally actually has some actual units to play. I like that. Corporate Warmongering. I think Corporate Warmongering is actually just better. Let's go with Confederate Courier. Victor Leader. Rough. Actually, super rough. This is the card we need to avoid in most cases. All right, let's claim initiative. Yeah, I think we have to go with Hoth Lieutenant onto the Victor Leader. Otherwise, we just lose, right? I think we're just mega losing if we don't do that. This is the type of hand that Vader really needs, right? A very aggressive, multiple space units, deploy Victor Leader, race you type of game plan, because we have IG a turn earlier than they do, like our leader deploy. So that's going to be how they win the game, is be very aggressive or, have a good Overwhelming Barrage. So we're going to hope that they don't have Overwhelming Barrage, because I don't feel like we can win if they have Overwhelming Barrage. We certainly cannot win if they have Overwhelming Barrage. So what we're going to do here is we're going to deploy IG, and we're going to hope that they don't have it. If they have it, it is what it is. We can't win because, yeah, there it is. GG to our opponent. Well played. Well played. Alrighty, what did we learn with IG today? It was actually a ton of fun, and we actually had some pretty good matches there. Very close in a couple of them. I think really the name of the game here is we were dominated by Overwhelming Barrage. Actually, when we played the 2 last matchups against Vader, literally exactly, I was like, well, this is what you need for Vader. And then exactly what I said happened in the game after. I don't know if that was the same Vader yellow player or what, but yeah, Overwhelming Barrage is like the card against us. If they have it, they're very likely to win. It's just the weakness of our deck. The 2 things that beat us are Overwhelming Barrage and big Sentinels in ground, right? Like if they play a Village Protectors and we don't have Guavian Antagonizer, and we played like Imperial Occupier and like Corrupt Politician, Death Star Stormtrooper, suddenly we're getting 2 for 1 and we can't hit them for damage, right? Into like a Captain Typhoon, it's like over. Like we cannot win. There was some really good stuff though, like Imperial Occupier ends up being pretty good in our deck. Same thing goes with like Corrupt Politician. Chancellor Palpatine got its time to shine. ISB Shuttle got its time to shine. Corporate Warmongering actually did some good work for us as well. And I think the unsung hero, or maybe it's sung now, but Hoth Lieutenant, guys, I'm telling you, if you're playing an aggressive aggression villainy deck, Definitely check out Hoth Lieutenant. I think this guy's slept on. It's one of those cards where, because it wasn't part of the main set, a lot of people don't even know it exists. And it's actually a really powerful card. It's the only card really from that starter Hoth battle, intro battle of Hoth decks that I think is worth even considering for the most part. But it actually is really good. And in some cases, that's what allowed us to win. Like against that Yoda player, we were able to win with Hoth Lieutenant. There were a couple of games there where it was really close, and it was because of Hoth Lieutenant or corporate warmongering or that type of stuff. So really cool stuff. Honestly, I mean, IG did some work, and it's gotten some major improvements. So kudos to IG. A nice signing off for our king here, for those of you that actually enjoy this deck. But thank you for watching, everyone. Give it a shot. Always fun to play an aggressive, get in, get out type of style. And I'll see you all for the next one.